Hey guys, so I always feel like I'm looking absolutely raggedy in these, but and I know it's been a while since we've talked, but obviously, like I've always say, and I mean, this is my intro pretty much at this point. I'm only gonna make videos that I feel motivated to make and that I, want to make. And there's been a couple where, I was like motivated to make a video about body image. I'm just always motivated to make things that are happening in my life, right? And are things that I just want to talk about, right? I want to vent. This is my free therapy session. So, yeah, there was a video that I wanted to make, but then something came up and I just didn't, even though this takes like 15 seconds, I just didn't put it out. But this one today is going to be about my mental health journey yet again. Because here's the thing, okay? For all of you who are going through your own mental health journey, you are never, ever done. You're never done. And I have been, so for context, I've been on my medication. I'm on Zoloft, 100 milligrams, if anybody wants to know. And I've been on my medication for almost a year now. And this past week, I would say, has probably been the worst week I've had since I have been stable on my 100 milligrams, okay? Because obviously I think there's a lot of ebbs and flows that come with figuring out your dosage and everything. But once I had that, I was pretty stable. And I just kind of want to talk about it because there's no real reason why this week has been just absolutely terrible for me. There's no real reason why I feel so extremely sad right now. There's no real concrete reason why any of that should be happening, right? But I feel like those of us who have struggled with depression know that depression is sadness without reason, right? Like, I think a lot of the frustration with yourself and with your life when you're depressed can come from the fact that you don't think that you deserve to be sad, right? Or you don't think that you have any right to feel the way that you do. And I'm right there with you. I'm trying currently to fight off being angry with myself and being angry that I have such an amazing life and I have a job that I love and I'm building a life that I love and I have a family that I love and a support system and so many things and the sky is blue and summer's coming. I try so hard not to think about why I'm feeling the way I am, but it's still, again, it's a continuous journey. And especially after being good for so many months and really only having like bad days or even bad half days here and there, this week has really kicked my ass. And I think that it's so hard because I've been okay for so long, and it sucks to feel at least momentarily like I'm not okay again. Because, it is familiar, right? Like me wanting to just stay in bed and have no motivation and stuff. And I just wanted to let all of you know that no matter whether you're depressed or, you've never been on medication or you've never had a therapist or you feel like your life has been mainly just happy, motivation ebbs and flows. Everything comes in waves, right? And I think that's really important to remember when you're talking about depression specifically, because even your recovery comes in waves, right? Even the things that you are working on come in waves. Like it is a continuous process and you're never done. And is that frustrating? Of course it's frustrating. It is something that I'm having such a hard time dealing with, especially right now, because I want to be done. I want to feel normal. I want to feel like I can get up in the morning and go, do whatever I want to do. And I want to feel motivated, but it is something that takes time. And even if, I felt motivated a week ago, right now I don't. And I need to have the patience with myself and the empathy for myself and the love for myself to give myself this time to not push myself too hard and to do things that I consider to be self-care, to take care of myself, to kind of go into recovery mode again, just a little bit for a little while, right? Like not for like 3, 4, or 5 months or anything, but like for, a week, just go into recovery mode, go into mode where you're kind of, figuring everything out again. Go into a place where you feel like you can just kind of go back into yourself and just exist, right? Because sometimes it's hard to just even exist. And I have a lot more responsibilities right now than just existing. I have a job and I have things that I need to do, and that sucks and that makes me angry because right now I don't want to do any of them. But by being kind to yourself and taking some time, you can get yourself motivated to do small things, right? And as much as a lot of things are things that you just have to do, right? Like you can't avoid them. You can, before the things that you can't avoid, maybe take a nap or maybe lay down and just kind of exist for a second and focus on your breathing and just kind of curl up into a ball, or maybe, have a good cry, right? And here's the thing is you don't need a reason, right? Like, I think that's something that I had to come to terms with really quickly when I started going into my depressive episode about a year and a half ago, is you do not need a reason to feel sad. You do not need a reason to feel unmotivated. Your feelings are valid no matter what the reason, excuse, context of them is, okay? You don't need a reason to cry. You don't need a reason to feel happy. They're just feelings that happen, right? And you, as much as you have control over the decisions you make, you don't really have control over your feelings a lot of the time, right? But what you can do and what you do have control over is how you process them, how you act on them, and how you experience and embrace them, right? And so even feelings of sadness, right? We need to, create a narrative and a conversation around feelings of sadness and around dealing with those feelings in a productive way, but that might not seem productive at first, right? So like me going up into my bed right now and having a good cry might not seem, productive to you guys, but that might be what gives me the small amount of space and motivation to get on this call that I have later today, right? And to get ready and to get dressed and to, be a professional and stuff. And that's important, hugely. And so I think that that's just what I wanted to talk about today is it's never over. And if anybody is watching my channel and somehow, feeling like I have it all under control and like, my mental health journey is done and like now that I have and am stable on medication, that it's all going to be good and sunshine and rainbows and everything. It's not, right? And of course there are, daily ups and downs, and I was absolutely happy and chilling up until this point, right? Overall, and I just think this week isn't as, I wouldn't say it's a step back because I think that is negative language, but it is it's a new challenge and I'm getting through it and I'm, doing my best to I don't need to identify the problem, right? There's no reason. There doesn't need to be a reason. But I do want to identify how I can make myself feel better in the long term, right? Maybe in the short term, there are things that, I don't want to do, but in the long term, it'll help me to feel better. And, do things that are critical to my mental health, right? Like going on walks, like, taking a shower and just like sitting down. I mean, I love doing that, honestly. Like, I love sitting in the shower. Whether that's, going for lunch somewhere nice or, treating myself to a massage, something like that, where it doesn't even have to be monetary, right? Like, walks are free and all that sort of stuff. But just give yourself the grace to feel the feelings that you need to, and to process the way that you're living in your life the way you need to, and give yourself the patience that you would give other people, right? Because I think that's really, really hard. It's really, really hard to look at yourself and to have compassion for yourself. But it's super, super important, especially when you're talking about depression and giving yourself grace. It's super, super important. And I think too, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but one of the things that I really, really love and I really, really champion is, if you have the ability to, print out a picture of your younger self and put it on your mirror. And the reason I saw this online, and the reason that this is important, is because a lot of the negative self-talk that we have around anything, body image, mental health, weight, doesn't matter, you would never say to another person, right? We have a lot of self-talk that we would never, ever even dare to say to another person, but somehow we allow ourselves to say it to us. It's crazy. So by putting up a picture of your younger self, I found that it's really, really powerful. Like, there's been times where I've been saying things to myself and I imagine saying that same thing to her, and it makes me cry, because it's like, I would never, ever, ever say something to her like that, right? But then why would you say it to yourself? Right? And so it was a very jarring thing that I did, but it was something that almost overnight changed my mentality on self-talk. And I'm not saying that everybody's going to have the great results that I did with it, but if you keep that picture up, it's going to make a difference in how you see yourself and in how you talk to yourself. And if you just are being intentional in keeping that thought in the back of your mind, like, would you say this to her? Would you be mean to her, to your younger self? A lot of times that can cut out a lot of the damaging things that we say to ourselves. And so that's what I'll leave you guys with. I hope this resonates with somebody. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that I can, by sharing my experiences, help at least one person feel less alone. So thank you guys so much again for listening and for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Love, Emma.